Okay, I'm gonna walk you through some of these things that we've got on here, and this is just kind of a base layout, just a starting point. So everything on here can be improved, but if we walk through here, what we've got is we've got the about page, and the about page says basically, hey, we're not like all these other people. All these people these web developers that say, hey, I deal with WordPress, I deal with Shopify, I deal with Wix, I deal with, and they name 1,000 different websites that they deal with. We're saying, hey, look, and I've done that before. I can build on all those platforms. I mean, that's what the business before was based around, was we could build on all these different platforms. But when you're doing that, it's very difficult to be an expert on all these different platforms. Things are changing. This is different, that's different. And then when you look at those platforms, you say, okay, what is the best platform out there? Well, the best platform out there by far, there's no comparison. You cannot compare WordPress or Shopify or Wix or any of these things to Django. Django is the absolute best, most secure platform out there. And there's a Harvard teacher who teaches website design who tells that. He says, hey, look, out of all the platforms, this is the best setup. The best setup is Python with Django. So there's no way to look and compare anything else to Python and Django. And something else, you've got a lot of these YouTubers who are website designers, and they say, this is the difference between a $10,000 website and a $1,000 website. This is the difference between a professional website and an amateur website. And what they show are things that don't matter. They'll say the design or the way that you talk. None of that's not the difference. The difference is a professional website gets 100%. I mean, when you put this is Google's Lighthouse tool. This is what Google uses for ranking. This stuff matters. If this first content pane isn't in under a second, that's an error. I mean, that's a problem. Google can't spider the website if this right here is under a second. I mean, if it's over a second, and that matters. Take the wristband, the embossed wristband website right here. We went through, and if you look at the blog, it's got like 400 articles in here on the blog. 410 articles. It's 10 per page, so it's 410, 400, whatever, 4,100, whatever it would be, is over 400 articles. I'm not good at math. So then we come in here and we look at the page time. The load time, the first content pane takes 6.5 seconds. The largest content pane takes 12 seconds. Well, these articles have been on this website for months now, for several months. But because this first content pane isn't under a second, and because this one's not under 2.5 seconds, this website has ranking penalties, and Google can't spider the content. So what happens is when Google comes into the website, they're not able to spider it. So when we look at the pages, you'll notice none of the pages, I mean, they go to the blog, but that's as deep as they can go. Right here, they went to the blog, page 20, but they can't go any further. So in all, you've got 45 pages that are producing content on here. That's it, 45. It doesn't matter what you do to the website, how much content you add. As long as this website's over a second, Google can't spider the pages. So when we look through here, we've got about 40 pages in Google. I mean, that's it. That's all the pages that Google sees. Out of 400, 500 pages on that website, Google can only find about 40 pages because they can't spider any deeper than that. And you can see this one right here has been in here since the 23rd. So what happens is Google will limit how often they spider, how deep they spider, when they return. They'll abandon a spider when they come to spider the site. They'll abandon it because the site is too slow. In addition to that, it's got ranking penalties. Google says if the site's not under 2.5 seconds, if it's not, the largest content isn't there in 2.5 seconds, that's a problem. So Google's not able to see all those pages. When we come back, and if you look, this thing's got coding errors. I mean, I didn't check all that stuff. I did check it, but I just didn't put it up here. But I mean, I can show you. I mean, there's all kinds of coding errors and everything else, but that's neither here nor there. The problem is Google can't spider the site because it takes 6.5 seconds for the first content pane. So a professional, a website that is designed correctly will be fully loaded in under a second. I mean, not fully loaded. The largest content on this one is 0.9 seconds. But the reason it's like that is because this is using straight up the Django. The way the content is created. There's a bunch of tags that you use in the content that's not necessary. All those have been removed out of this thing. If you look at the content, and it's going to be the styles run inline right here. The inline styles makes a big difference. I mean, you're talking about a second to 2 seconds just on the inline styles being run. But if you look, there's no body tags. This doesn't have any. The body tags are for the programmer or the designer to look at to say, oh, look, this is the body or this is that. This doesn't have any body tags. There's no body tags in here. This is all the tags that come. And if you use something like like a margin, a lot of people will say margin left, margin top, margin right. We always use the margin or the margin, or I can't even think now, but the margin of the padding. We always use the padding or the margin, and we set it up like this. See, look, here's margin 003 REM, and then the 5%. So what instead of saying margin left, margin right, to save on the code, and this hasn't even been. This can be optimized a heck of a lot more. This code can be smashed down, and I'm having a hard time thinking at the moment, but this code can be set up so that it's optimized for the search engines. You can get this thing to load, and when they're all optimized and everything, you can get them to load anywhere from 0.5 to 0.8 milliseconds, fully loaded. And that helps your ranking. If there's an error, if there's a problem, when you look at this, if I'm building this website, if they say, hey, look, there's a problem with this, or look, you see all these errors and things. They're saying, hey, look, this is a problem. When we see a problem in the code, we fix it. We don't leave it there. If we come in here, there's no errors on the page, because if there's when you look at the ADA compliance, if it's not ADA compliant, you can get a $50,000 fine per an incident, up to like $150,000. Plus, you can get sued over and over again until the problem's fixed. So the code is ADA compliant. There's no if there's a program. If I put the website into a program and it says this is a problem, you see this is showing bad code and everything else through here. But if I put the code into a program and it says there's a problem, we fix the problem. We don't leave it there. That's what professionals do. Professionals validate the code. They make sure the code is valid. And then if you come in here, if we click on schedule, if I say I want to schedule a phone call, then it asks us the questions that we need. I mean, you're able to come in here and enter the content and work through the steps. And this tells us so that when we make the phone call, we understand, hey, this is what this guy's thinking. This is what's going on. And it walks you through the whole process, and at the end of it, it tells you to enter your information for the phone call. If you're back on the homepage, the hero image focuses 100% on the customer. It's not about me. It's not about this. It's all focused on the customer. Then when you click on this, it takes you to a place where you enter your email account. You enter your email account, and you do this, and then it will send you a PDF, and the PDF will walk you through all the different things about the website and about what you should be looking at. This also, okay, we got to submit this. Once we submit this, then it says, thank you, your PDF has been sent to your email. And it also is a little video here that walks you through and talks about what bad code looks like and everything else. And this could all be done better. This is just a rough idea of how the website should be set up. I mean, you've got your services, you've got your contact. It would come down here to the footer. You've got your about page. The news page needs to be set up. You've got your privacy policy and all this stuff, your terms and conditions. Here on this one right here, we talk about accessibility, and we say, hey, look, we try to make sure that all the websites are accessible and blah, blah, blah. If you come over here, we've got a portfolio. The portfolio, when people do their portfolios, and I need to set up this portfolio. This is just a rough idea of playing with some stuff. But the design part of the portfolio is the easy part. If you're custom designing something, you can take any website and duplicate it. I mean, there's no website or no function or anything else that you can show me that we can't duplicate to the website. But most of the portfolios are just the way the design looks. It's just, and then you've got your team. This is just playing with some team ideas and stuff here. But this is a rough idea of where the website should be, what should be happening with the website, the pages that should be on the website. When you click on services, I've got to come through here and add another page for each one of these services so that they're explained a little bit better, so you can click on a service and see more about it. But this is the basic setup of a professional website. All the code's been checked. It will do anything. There's nothing that you can say, hey, I want this website to do. And if you look, I mean, the title tag, when you say the title tag should match the H1 tag. So you've got custom website development. It would come right here. We've got custom website development. This is the H1 tag. The H1 tag should always match the title tag. If you look at these websites online, even web design companies, a lot of times they don't match those tags up. And I'll do some more videos breaking down these web developers who say this is a professional website. I'll show in a video, I'll show you what they're saying and why they're wrong one by one. I'll go through all those. But this is what the basic setup for the website should look like. Maybe the portfolio should be moved up here, but before it's moved up here, it should be set up correctly. The team could be moved up here also. If we come in here and see, when you're hand coding, all this stuff has to be done by hand. So when you're setting it up and all, you got to look and say, okay, if it's in iPad, I want it to look like this. If it's in a cell phone, I want it to look like this. And it's hand coded in here. So basically you can make it look like this right here, the about is up too high, but we can move it down for this at media 726. We can move that down just by saying, and right here, you know, this is what everybody else says. This is the margin top, and then you can say 10%, and that's not where it's at. So I would have to look at that to figure out what's going on. But that's the basics of how. But if you look at, if you take this to just a margin, if you come in here to just margin, you can see, well, if I can make it work, you can see the margin top is the first one, the margin right is the second one, the margin bottom is the third and the fourth. So when you're setting it up, you can actually, if you put another one in here, now that right there is going to make the margin top at 10% and the margin right 10%. But if I change this right here to say 3%, then that will make the top one will be 10% and the bottom one will be 10%, but the right and the left will be the 3%. So I mean, you can see there it changed it. But when you're setting it up, when you code correctly, you can get websites that load in milliseconds. But nobody in the industry wants to do this. You can check any website. 98% of the websites currently online, there's companies that have checked over 10 million websites. 98% of them are not ADA compliant. 98% are not W3C valid. The W3C valid is like the first step in making it ADA compliant. So I think it's like 97% are not W3C valid and 98% are not ADA compliant. So nobody in the industry is designing the websites correctly, but nobody's talking about this because everybody's trying to use WordPress, which WordPress is the most hacked platform in the world. WordPress is just a mess. I mean, if somebody went to a professional code forum where professionals work and nobody knew what WordPress was, and somebody posted that WordPress code on WordPress on that forum saying, is this good code? People would laugh at them. Bootstrap the same. Bootstrap comes out of the box full of errors. So to code something professional, if you're going to build a professional website, if you're going to fix the errors and do it correctly, you hand code the whole thing. And there's no, I mean, Seth Goodwin, or I think Seth Goodwin, that's his name. He talks about the purple cow. He says, hey, you know, if you're driving in the road and you see a bunch of cows on the road, you keep going. But if you see a purple cow, you stop and look at the cow. You want to stand out from the competition. You want to be different from the competition. So, and the best way to be better than the competition is to be, like everybody talks about Tesla. Well, Tesla, one, it is nothing that's going to save the planet. I mean, they're destroying the planet trying to get the lithium to build the batteries and everything. So the Tesla's not a better car. It's not but it is faster when it's brand new. If the Tesla car is brand new, then that thing will outrun anything on the planet. But as the car gets older, the battery starts getting less and less and less, and then it becomes less and less powerful. When it's about 5 years old, nobody wants it because you need to replace the batteries, and the batteries are more expensive than the entire car is going to cost. So if you look in China, they've got junkyards just full of these battery powered cars, because once they reach a certain age, it's cheaper to go get a new car than it is to fix it. These things are destroying the planet. If people were serious about global warming and fixing the problem, what they would be doing is taking old cars, not creating new cars. They would be taking old cars and redoing them and trying to make them more gas efficient, because there's not enough electricity. You can't, the power grid is already at the extreme in several places, and now you're going to start charging cars. I mean, it's just, and the power grid is set up most of the time on coal and all this other stuff. So it's just not global friendly. The electric cars are not, but people believe they are. And the only place they really beat a gas car is that they can outrun it. And when and gas is also a natural energy. I mean, it's just as natural as the electrical stuff. I mean, the battery and the whole thing is crazy. And my point is if you're going to create something that stands out from the competition, you start by trying to make something better. And then you market on that. With the Tesla, you hear people talking all the time. You have all these videos of them outrunning these other cars and all. And the reason is because when it's brand new, that thing will outrun anything around. But as it gets older, it's not worth anything. This website is the purple cow. There's no other website. If you do research just on being W3C valid and to be ADA compliant, and the government will find you. You can get sued over and over again until your website is ADA compliant. And it cannot be ADA compliant if the code is not W3C valid. And when you start doing research on W3C valid codes, you've got all these experts saying it's impossible to make the website W3C valid. And I can make this website do anything you want it to do, but the code will always be W3C valid. There are no errors, there's no warnings, there's nothing to show. If there's an error or a warning, or if it says, hey, this is a potential error, or this is a warning, it's fixed. We don't leave it in the code. We just fix it so it's not there. And nobody else does that. So this is the purple cow. This website right here is your purple cow. This is the website where if you saw it out in the wild, it is going to outperform, outmaneuver, and outsell any website online, because the number one factor to conversions is website speed. Website speed affects the how long somebody's on a website. Tests have shown over and over and over again that speed affects somebody's ability to stay on the website, to research the website and everything else. This is a ranking factor. Google said that speed's a ranking factor. I mean, speed affects so many different things, but nobody's coding the websites correctly. And then they do these stupid videos saying the difference between a professional website and an amateur website is how you sell it. No, there's a professional validates the code. If you're a writer, you check the code for spelling errors. If you're a coder, you should check your code for coding errors. I mean, it's just absolutely insane that nobody does that. But this is the basics of the setup. You can look at it and criticize it and say, oh, well, this is this and blah, blah, blah. But this is the correct setup for the website. And if you can find something wrong with it, please point it out and show it to me. I'd be more than happy to see it so I can fix it. But this is what a professional website should look like. There's no coding errors. There's nothing it loads in under a second. Fully loaded in under a second, with no tricks, no gimmicks, no nothing. This website's coded correctly. And all these people say, if you see a website that's got the first content and the largest content the same, it's because they're tricking you and No, this is what happens when you code the website correctly. When you fix all the errors and there's no errors to see or anything else, when you code it from scratch and you do it correctly, this is what it looks like. This is your purple cow here. And if you're going to sell something, you need something that stands out from the competition. You need something that the competition can't deal with, so that you can say, hey, look, this is the problem here. That's marketing 101. You need to be able to stand out from the competition. And this stands out just on the speed and everything else alone. and the fact that there's no arrows.